Hi, this is Cris from Paddleboard Specialists, and today we're going to be talking about the 2016 Bark Vapor and the 2016 SIC FX Pro. Both boards come in 14 or 12.6. The ones we're going to be looking at and comparing today are the 14s. The Bark Vapor comes in at 14 by 26, and the FX comes in at 14 by 25. Both boards are very similar in height as well. The Vapor is coming in at 7.5, and the FX is coming in at 7 3/4. In terms of volume, the Vapor is 271 liters of volume, and the SIC is 290 liters of volume. Again, both boards are very similar. I know that everyone's been pretty excited to see a side-by-side comparison of these two, so we're looking to fulfill that today. But again, I mean, both boards similar, except when you start looking at the tails. On the Vapor, you're looking at a 10-inch tail. On the FX, you're looking at an 8-inch tail. When you start looking at the noses of the boards, again, you're looking at some pretty stark differences as well. On the Vapor, you've got a much rounder and much fuller nose, and on the FX, you've got a very lean entry into the water. When we start talking about rocker lines and that kind of thing, again, I mean, we'll show you some side-by-side comparisons of that as well, but you're really going to notice how much less rocker the FX has than the Vapor. You know, some of the biggest differences that we see when we start looking at the noses, besides that lean entry, you start looking at how round and soft, you know, the bark is, versus on the SIC, much more, you know, much leaner, and you do have a little bit of a spine here that continues till just past the nose, then it starts to flatten out. All right, so one of the things that we notice when we flip the boards over and you start taking a look at volumes and volume distribution, you start looking at the Vapor and you see how lean this gets. Even though this is 10 inches wide, you know, it's still much leaner when you're talking about volume back in through the tail. When you start looking at this SIC, again, 8 inches wide, but you've got a big chunk of volume back here in the tail. The other thing that we noticed was the softness. That when you're looking at the Vapor, you start looking at this rail, it's pretty soft here, right about your standing area. You start to see how it starts to harden up, but it's not quite as hard as when you're looking at the SIC. The SIC is a very hard rail all the way on up till just about past the standing area into that nose. Again, you can notice the very full nose that you've got on the Vapor and that real lean entry that you've got on the SIC. And again, I hope I'm not you know, favoring one versus the other. I'm just letting you guys know, much fuller nose, much leaner nose when you're talking about entries into the water and how that water's going to behave and how that water's going to get released. In terms of bottom contour and what's going on, you know, on the underside of these boards, they're really pretty simple. I mean, no double concaves, nothing going on, you know, nothing really jazzy. I mean, they really tried to keep these boards pretty clean. And I'm talking about on either one of them. Again, I'm running my hand. I feel a little, you know, just a little bit, just a hint of it in here, hint of a double concave, but then all the way through in here, it's a pretty flat bottom board. And as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for some on the water footage. Very lean. How lean? Much leaner, real lean entry, much leaner nose. Besides that lean entry, you know, much leaner,